beautiful people. Today, we are ranking the best defenders in FC 25. And as per usual, we have broken rank 1, FUT champs debatable in the pine. More than 100 names, and I need to know your back line. I'll be rating those in the comment section. Who's leading your defensive shape? I hope it's not Acuna. Not that he's bad news, but he hasn't been what he needs to be in order to play himself into lineups. I'm leaning on an early debatable respectfully. Okay, not my favorite, still a bit undersized. I like a big body center back. Call me a traditionalist, but he's still good enough for the weekend, no doubt about it. Alaba used to put up, but he's kind of dated at this point. I'm not mad if you used to use him, but I doubt that you're presently putting him into rotation. Alexander-Arnold, he needs an update or an upgrade. I would be mad at a team of the year. Are we foreshadowing? Perhaps we are, and I'm okay with that. That said, this current variation, I can't see how you can use him out wide, with all due respect. Rabbit, we talked about him in the midfield video. I'll throw him into the debatable for him shifting into a center back position. He's not bad. There's plenty of stat lines, but he's definitely not first on the docket. By definition, debatable. Robert still coming with anticipate, even though he might not have the needle moving. We'll still go debatable. Anton, I have been seeing him in the weekend. People have been experimenting. He can play as a left back, a right back, a center back. They get a little booster pack, 5-star weak foot. We'll go to FUT champs. Araujo, let's go. I don't know if that rhymed, but this guy's always been premium for yours truly. And Barcelona might be on the up and up. Saw what happened when they went up against Madrid. We were all watching. We were dialed. Bacha, I'm not happy about this, but I see her more in the debatable. There's something with the women or the lady fullbacks, generally speaking. Even with the stat lines, the performance just isn't there. Partially, it's because the whipped passing and the crossing compared to last year hasn't been a thing. Something just isn't clicking. It could be just me, but I don't think it is, because I don't see them in rotations. I don't see them in lineups. You're not going up against them over the course of the weekend or high-level division rivals. Bye. Got a couple versions. We'll take him to FUT champs. Would complete the SBC, 80,000 coins. Knock that out. You are sitting on fodder. You have to be. Balde! That's a major upgrade. I think we have to have our first broken incident. The combination of pace, a little bit of track record, easy linkability. It's all coming together in a beautiful neutrality. Baresi, I don't think you can use him. He just doesn't fit the meta. EA hasn't done the proper upgrades. He's still undersized. He's not that fast. He's not that physical. Doesn't have a presence. It hurts my heart. I'm not happy about this. Bastoni, at least a bigger body type. Again, maybe a little dated. Beasley, you're not using currently. If you paid for the SBC, you most definitely overpaid. Laurent Blanc, the Frenchman. GP has me sorting them into FUT champs, which seems right, feels right, still proper. I don't like going up against them. Some of y'all might even lean them into rank 1. Speaking of, Sasha boy, Flavor Flav, throw a timepiece on his neck. I think most of us complete him. I'm still using him a lot. I like rank 1 for the boy. Bomb Pastor, I'm not taking her off the picture. Touch is clean, recovery solid, interceptions, it's happening. Creme de la creme, upper tier, but at least the weekend for me. Bremer, he's been on a 2 thumbs up type of movement for the Brazilian. Would not be mad if a team of the year was incoming. I don't think he'll get the vote. There's too much competition for his position, but don't knock him till you tried him. Bright, the lady center backs, tough. They're always undersized, typically don't have a wide enough build. Even as EA gives out play styles and upgrades, when it comes to goalkeepers and center backs, I am such a heightist. If you're not minimum 6'1", 6'2", it's going to be hard for me to justify the inclusion based on the meta, based on how the game works. And that's 6'4", 6'5", Brawly, beast mode, Super Saiyan. Man's pumped up on creatine. That's what you're looking for. My energy today's coming in with that fuego. Speaking of, if you want to update the office space, everything Elgato, lights, camera, action, and it will all be linked down below. You see it, I have it, and I appreciate Elgato for making that possible. Lucy Bronze, I like this upgrade, and she has Anticipate Plus. I just, again, have better options out wide. Don't come after me. Most Italian name ever, also to the debate. Cafu, all day rank 1. You might be able to make a case for broken, but I think we're already on that cuspy point where I'm starting to prefer other players if we're looking at the best of the best when it comes to center backs or fullbacks. Speaking of Camavinga, I look at him more as a midfielder, but he's so good I just want him on the pitch. He's got a little bit of everything from the Frenchman. I need him in broken, and that's what's happening. Sol Campbell, a lot of you will have him higher. I don't get down with him very well. Cannavaro's coming into these Baresi problems. EA, help us out. Capdevia, you can't run him. Carlos Poole, you should not run him, with all due respect. Carlos Alberto, all day. We had the version that was a midfielder in the previous video. If you have not watched it, I would recommend. Covers every single midfielder. Carragher, the 88, I can't see you really using them. I'm going to throw him in the debatable. I actually preferred the 87 SBC, which I will still give FUT Champs. I think he's underrated, easy to knock out. I don't know why more people didn't talk about him. And you've already had time for the rotation. And maybe I'm giving him a little bit of that extra cushion based on what he's already accomplished for the club, because this SBC dropped at least a couple months ago. Ashley Cole, also for the weekend. Cordoba, so many of you love him. I just can't get down with them. Quadrado, I'm liking him. Lot of expression, my type of fullback. Dante, you could leave him hanging. Davies, the Canadian dream. For the weekend, still got that speed that'll make you think twice. You're not catching up to him, and you can guarantee a recovery. Would like if a couple other stat lines got pulled up, but beggars can't be choosers. Delit, not bad. I didn't mind him for the weekend. If you're looking for an option, he's still viable. Eder Militao, only to the top. Fastest center back that I've used or gone up against. Instant recovery. The mobility, the side to side, the responsiveness. If you are a manual defender in particular, you're going to love Eder Militao. Desai, who I gave no love to in the midfield video. I do not like him in that position, but as a center back, he is rank 1. Di Lorenzo, always liked him, maybe loved him. Again, we're having issues with being dated. DeMarco with some major upgrades. 80s everywhere. Green lit. Cheap. Good value. Understated. If you're running the Italians, if you've got yourself something in the Serie A, DeMarco should not be slept on. Dallo, even though he's only an 86, still good enough for the weekend in my mind. Dumfries. I don't know if he'll be for everyone, but he is one of the most physical players that you can purchase. That said, he's not an outstanding dribbler or a goal scorer. He's not going to give you razzle and dazzle and ins and outs and the smoothest left stick dribbling. That's not him. But if you want someone who gets stuck in, no question, wins a header, defends a corner kick, great posture, chest is out, Dumfries will do that for you. Lewis Dunk, he slept on in my eyes. I got him in FUT Champs, and I'm teasing the idea of Dumfries already making some upward movements. Even if he might not be for every person that's watching, and I like to look at the macro, he works for yours truly. Crystal Dunn, I've always been a fan, but I don't think you're going to be able to use this 86 in any competitive level. Rio Ferdinand will still give you rank 1, no doubt about it. Hierro, I also have him as rank 1. Might be a surprise with the upgrades and the play styles. Overall, in general, across the board, I think he's been better than people expected. Frimpong, who is still bouncy. Not denying that. An attacking fullback at its finest. I still got him rank 1, but you got to be pushing that type of messaging. You have to be pushing the RSVPs for going forward to maximize what Frimpong is going to give you. If you want a defensive fullback, he might not be your first choice. That's the disclaimer. One of the most slept on center backs in the Premier League. I'm not an Arsenal supporter. I just think Saliba takes such precedent or focus that Gabby doesn't necessarily get the worldwide love, even though this 88 is just weekend league good. George's, I'm not running it up. You kind of know my position. Team of the year hopeful, Grimaldo. Don't know that he'll get it. He's going to be debatable with this item. Even with the pace upgrade, it's just a matter of how many improvements and different players that you have competing for minutes in those positions. Ayo, Marky Mark, the Funky Bunch. If you know the reference, you could comment down below. He does have a lot of play styles, and you have the Premier League linkage. Guerrero, when he first dropped, had a little bit of some movement, mainly because you could play him as a center mid. Now as a fullback, I'd leave him alone. We'd just keep it pushing. Gusto, I'd still have him as a competitive fullback. Technically could improve, has upgraded, a little more affordable. I like what I've experienced when I've used him. Holland as a CB, just the sheer athleticism, the pace, the physicality, the body type, everything in the air. I would say he's the best positioning wise. There is a loss of something from a natural standpoint, regardless of the statistics. I've had this experience with multiple center backs and even fullbacks across the board. It's hard to decipher what stat line actually dictates or impacts positioning. because it's not the defensive positioning. Spoiler. 88 rated center back with 90 pace, but I see a bunch of fraudulent activity, and that's why I'm putting him into the debate. Not even really the right mesh of play styles. 3-star, 3-star, started as a silver, but now we're here. Teo Hernandez is still going down as broken. Even with more upgrades and other players that are higher rated, he has fit the meta from start to finish. His gold is still usable throughout the weekend. Martinez to the pine, not loving him. Paredes is typically my center back of choice if you're looking for a woman option or you need the Barcelona links, but she's still going to the pine. Jansen can join her in the pine. Navas, no problems for the weekend. Not a bad SBC. Karchawi is similar to the Botcha conversation. It's just not last year, and that's the expectation that I believe most of us have from a community approach, is these ladies were so dominant in the previous iteration out wide. King Kimmy, I still like him. He was free R-us, and he comes off the bench for me quite frequently. He's a center back that I can trust. There's a reliability. There's an insurance. Kimmich, I'm not putting him into motion. It's tough. He's sort of in between positions. Ledley King was good to go, but he doesn't have the green light. A lot of these early doors, heroes, even some of the icons, it's as if as new promo players came out, not only were they improved statistically, but it almost hindered the originals, the OGs. That's my observation. Coman, you don't need him. If you want to run it up, so be it. Jurgen, same situation, or at least similar storytelling. Big Vince, and in any other year, I would have him broken. However, this year, he's good, but he's not that next level of greatness. The 91 Kanate has even surpassed the levels of those entry Virgil van Dijks, who always had a certain aura or essence. Not herbal, if you know the commercial. Koundé, I might want better. Out wide, that jockey plus, the way you can cut back or pivot and adjust on the fly, it's beautiful. Wow. I don't see him used frequently, but it wasn't a question of ability. It was more or less that you had to unlock a certain amount of tokens and do the trade-in, and people want to grab the packs, myself included. Clear rank 1. I don't know if he has enough edge to get into broken, but we do have previous history and good track records. Philip Lahm, he's not for me. I'll throw him in the debatable. I know, comment section, you'll say, I love him. He can play both fullback roles. He can be a holding mid. I don't like him at any of the above. Rose Lavelle, and the stats come in at a premium. She's not going to measure up to those just perfectly. I'd still feel comfortable putting her into a weekend. In fact, I used her as an interchangeable left back, left mid, left wing type of role, similar to a bomb pastor. But I will say this as a surprise, I still prefer bomb pastor to Rose Lavelle. Lucio, next level, has to be broken. There's only one home, one place. And in this case, it's not Brazil. Put him into your virtual 11 and watch him work. Vicente is smooth, but I don't know if I'm giving him an instant customer service into rank 1, but he could be a little cuspy. Maicon looking tough in that dynamic image. Truly enjoyed using him this year. Great new introduction. This 90 won't let you down, and he's cuspy in terms of potentially pushing upwards. So just give it a little time. Maldini, for many, you would say the GOAT. In fact, we made a video on Football Records, our second channel that goes into football storytelling. If you'd like to get the full grasp of his career and impact, that will be linked down below. Mappy Leon is amazing on the ball, but she's still a 5'7" center back. It is so difficult. I will hear your argument, but you can't sell it to me. Marcos Llorente. He's been downgraded, down-ticked. Marquez, the 88's not going in rotations. That's just a fact, Jack. Marquinhos on the 90 will be okay for the weekend. You'd have to be building either Brazilians or going Liga, something along those lines to make it make sense, because our options for 100,000 coins or less, way more depth than ever before. Mascherano, I believe you're forcing it. I know a lot of you like the winter wild card. You're going to make it happen. McManaman. Let him cook up. What an item that came out of nowhere. Stats have been statting. I always liked McManaman on the record. Thought he was an underrated hero. You will not be disappointed with his right back version. Melito has every stat line, but when you use him, I can't get the position. He was dragging the other defenders out of position. They weren't where they needed to be. It didn't flow well. Debatable. Bobby Moore is going to be a no-go. Not a shocker. Nesta, absolutely not. Even at 89, I don't think he's a sure thing for the weekend, and you guys would support that. You're not seeing him. Nuno Mendes, good SBC, not bad value for the weekend. This Pareo has been interesting, fun to use, a little bit of a surprise. I believe you get more value than intended, but I don't know if I can give him a sure third thing for the weekend, which I think is still right. Pedro, no problem out wide. Petit is too dated. You can't have 70s everywhere, even as a center back or a left back. Bernard's not really for me. Ricky's never been on board. Even Risa now, there's no place for him. The players got dated. They got pushed out. Rijkaard, as much as I like him, and he's got that long hair bonus factor, he just doesn't have that longevity or even that present day up to date. Roberto Carlos still got the itch, no doubt. Rank 1. Not upset if he even moves into broken for you. Robertson, I think you're forcing it. I saw people putting him into motion. They must have been Liverpool supporters, understandably. Diaz, I did not mind this SBC. I don't know if he's held up as we're recording, but he was good enough for sure for weekend league starter play, big minutes, off the bench, you name it, he could get into some squads. Rudiger, I like him a lot. Rank 1 indeed. Some of you might make a case for a broken back and forth, that type of upgrade. Give it a little bit of time. Could there be a team of the year? That is the question, and I'd like the answer. Rolfo, and again, she maybe didn't live up to last year's deliverables, but I'm still putting her into rank 1. Even though I will say this, I would prefer her center mid option. Romero feels overrated for me. Saliba, the land of the anticipate plus, broken. He's got that body type, that build that you let him eat first at the lunch table, or at least sit down first. He's gonna plan what's happening. Got them leadership qualities. 5'7" center back with slide tackle plus. That's an absolutely not. Schlotterbeck, I like the release, but kind of comes in middle of the road. Feels quite average. Miss Scott, and she has a left back and a right back option. That choice is up to you. They both go foot champs for yours truly. Yapstam looking and feeling like an absolute defensive villain. Have you ever played ping pong or table tennis and you see the highlights of the defensive table tennis player just hitting everything back, a little bit of spin this way, a little bit of placement, and then before you know it, overpowers you with a counter strike? That's Yapstam. Stones, and both choices went back and forth. Talked to a lot of folks, people tested them out. I used them this past weekend, but good SBC all things considered. Todd deserves more appreciation, and maybe there's a case for a rank 1 upward trajectory. Chouameni's got pushed out. My bad, not my fault. Thuram, I think he's a little overrated for the prices and maybe just a new icon hype train. But for 1,000,000 coins and some extra helpings all year long this far, you're paying for the newness. You're not paying for the deliverables. Tamori, and I actually evoed this version of Tamori. Very good. Sustainable without a doubt. If you want to get more minutes out of them, you needed to upgrade a little bit. But the 86 was a green lit. Van de Ven, no problem for the weekend. Not going to push beyond. A lot of pace, I understand. Virgil van Dijk, the 89. He has finally been reduced, shall we say. Still fine for the weekend. Not going to be a major complaint, but you're noticing that the game's caught up to him, the upgrades, the speed of the other players, missing out on some tackles, or not being as responsive as he once was, or not having that same dominant feature. If you want that, you got to go big and spend big and find yourself with the 93 overall. That's going to be growing on the up and up, and likely a team of the year. If I know my FC or FIFA voting, we will witness the unstoppable of all unstoppables coming very soon. Vanderson, he might surprise you. I'll go into the debate. This Varane, I'm kind of conflicted because he put in so many games. I don't think I could take him out of foot champs, but at the same time, players have caught up. Vidic, slept on. Put him into motion, give him real minutes, thank me later. Most physical human being around. Kyle Walker, brand spanking new. This is what Thuram thinks he is. When I look at comparison players, I would rather have Kyle Walker across the board. Still not an offensive maestro. Doesn't have that magnificence or the natural movements and organic fixtures, greens in all places, lovely, intricate, detailed, subtle footwork, but defensively, he is the best. The youngster, Yankudo, cool for the weekend. Zé Roberto, I'm a little conflicted. I use him more as a winger or even a center mid, but I have played him plenty as a left back as well. Highly recommend this SBC. What a return of value, and it's a bit of a utility player, multiple positions. He'd still be good enough for the weekend as a fullback, but I don't think that'd be your first placement. Zambrata, I've always been a fan. I'm going to throw him into foot champs. He might get just a touch of movement. There is a certain level of confidence and cadence that I have with the Italian. Zanetti's 89 to the Pine. And ironically, his 87, which is better, is still going to be debatable. I wasn't in love. He's not been a player I've meshed with over the years. And thus far in FC 25, it's more of the same. And it's time for a review. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the Pine or even the debatable. If anything, those players are on the way out, generally speaking. But let's break up the top half. You know how we get down. Let me give you the logic. We've added top 5 and extra broken. I want 5 in each category just to give us a little more room to work with. So, Big Virgil, still going up to the top 5. That new Kyle Walker, best in his position. Carlos Alberto for now, at least another notch up. Militao has to go up. Theo Hernandez is at least here. Maldini is moving. Lucio is moving. Koundé is joining the broken category, who I would prefer, and this could be a hot take on top of a hot take, over Thuram, but still that feels proper if we're starting to have some of these additional movements. Roberto Carlos can go. We'll see better versions of Rudiger coming soon. I'll give Maicon the bump. Araujo I like. Sasha Bowie, he's been good for me. Let's go ahead and give Zé Roberto, just for the amount of minutes he's played for the club. Zambrata is joining from the weekend league group. I'm getting Dumfries. That boy Dumfries is moving. I love him, even if he might not be perfect for you. I'll leave FUT Champs alone and rank 1 alone. Let's solidify this top 5 and have the final move and groove. Yapstam is sort of built just perfectly. Saliba, I'm internalizing. He's going with them. Theo Hernandez is making the top 5. That's how official I'm going. I'm not getting away from Maldini. And that new Militao is easily the fastest center back I have used. I just like having him on the pitch. So what I'm going to do is take Baldy up. And that's where we're going to lock in and lock out. Lucio just missing out. But I feel good about the top 5. We got the extra broken, the broken, and so forth. Let me know your thoughts and give me your back line. I will rate all of your defensive setups in the comment section. I have a lot more content coming out ASAP.